Alright, hi. So I know I've been neglecting uploads on this channel for a long time. I don't even know how long ago my last upload was. I've primarily been making videos for my other channel, Light, where I make gaming videos mostly. I post videos on that channel once a week, and I've definitely been focusing on it a lot more. But I haven't made a video on this channel in a while, and I kinda want to start getting back into it. I don't really have any content to post right now though, so I thought today I would just do something kind of fun. This is definitely not going to be a serious video. I'm literally just gonna look into some news stories about Metro-North and Long Island Railroad. Again, this video is just for fun, it's just a joke. I mean, I don't even know why I'm making this. This is not a serious video whatsoever. Now, I'm pretty sure it's a common stereotype that a lot of news stations really like to bash aviation and airlines. That's the same thing for railroads. News stations, especially like the local New York news stations, love to bash railroads. So I'm just gonna be watching some news stations basically bashing Metro-North and Long Island Railroad, because why not? It's fun. Now, I've watched all of these videos before, and I already know that I'm gonna disagree with everything they say, but I just want to point out some of the stupid stuff, honestly, because why not? That's why I'm making this video, just for fun, because why not? A lot of these videos just genuinely infuriate me, like this one, passenger seen in LIRR Cab. This is actually incorrect grammar here. You don't need to capitalize the I and in titles, unless it's the first or last word. Great start already, even though that has nothing to do with the video. Again, I've seen these videos before, so I'm just gonna give you my opinion on them.
New at 6 tonight, a Long Island Railroad passenger caught on video, as you see here. He's sitting inside the off-limits conductor's cab.
Right, the cab is technically considered off-limits, but, like, there's nothing this guy can really do because you need a key to be able to do literally anything in the cab. There's one key that you need to be able to operate, like, any of the controls, and there's one key that you need to be able to operate anything with the doors. So this guy can literally do nothing, except for maybe mess around, like, with the headlights or the horn or something, but that's about it.
Some Long Island Railroad passengers asking, where are the safety protocols?
Where are the safety protocols? Well, the safety protocols are that you need a key to be able to do anything in the cab. I mean, it's not like he can really do anything in here. Plus, I have literally seen a ton of people sitting in cabs before, like from my experience going on Metro-North. Not really Long Island Railroad, because I don't really ride Long Island Railroad, but on Metro-North, I've seen tons of people sitting down in the cabs, and like the conductors don't care. Like, they literally purposely open the doors and let people sit in the cab, especially if it's a crowded train. Like, it literally does not matter.
CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan joining us live from the LIRR tracks in Mineola. Jennifer.
Good evening. The LIRR says passenger safety was never compromised.
That's true. You need a key.
The Commuter Council, however, disagrees.
Watch why they disagree, though. That's the important thing.
LIRR passengers gathered around, viewing cell phone video captured by a passenger on the 708 out of Penn.
This is what I really don't like about news stations. They're literally going around. Like, that person who was going there showing the video, like, gathering around, that's the same reporter who was reporting on this story. You're purposely going around and showing this video to people just to scare them and not giving them full context. You're making people worried, and you're giving a bad light to the Long Island Railroad for what? It's not a breach. What do you mean Long Island Railroad breach? There's literally, like, this is just a common sight. Like, I genuinely don't see anything wrong with this.
The Long Islander who shot the video is stunned that in full view of conductors and train personnel, a commuter hunkered down inside the engineer.
Right. What? Okay, why are you surprised? This happens all the time, literally. This is not a once-in-a-lifetime story.
Cab off limits to the public amid buttons, dials, brakes, and door controls,
which you can't do anything with unless you have a key.
Allegedly drinking a beer.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Reading the evening paper.
Oh, no, he's not allegedly reading the evening paper. He is reading the evening paper.
The train's crowded. They should not be sitting at the conductor's chair, especially having a beer.
I don't know if they technically require the doors to be locked. Like, I'm not 100% sure about that. But all I know is that no one could have caused any harm by sitting there, and it's a common occurrence.
To see more security at the train.
You don't need more security on the train. If anything, just lock the cabs.
The rush hour rail car looked filled, and with few empty seats, this rider seemed to find comfort in open space to stretch out. At one point, a passenger, apparently thinking the man in the cab is a conductor, asks a schedule question.
What time are we going to see for?
Again, the only reason they included that information here is for fear-mongering, I swear.
LIRR commuter Devon Jones says off-limit seating is not all that unusual during rush hour.
They usually leave the doors open so that we can sit there when there's not enough seats.
At one point,
Exactly. See my point.
The conductor passes right by the open cab and does not ask the man to move out of
Exactly, because they don't care, because the conductor is the one that opened the cab in the first place.
the secure area, although the railroad says a passenger would not have been able to use the controls without a key.
And don't mention that until the last part of the video, the very last part of the video is when they're like, oh yeah, by the way, that guy couldn't have done anything without a key, allegedly. I feel like that's the first thing you should mention, but no, you can clearly tell by the rhetoric of this video that they want to shame the Long Island Railroad here.
The Long Island Railroad says the door, like this one, should have been locked. The incident is under investigation.
Under investigation? What do you mean investigation? This happens all the time.
In response to the possible breach, the watchdog agency responded. The LIRR Commuter Council is quite concerned about this possible violation, which could have both security and safety implications.
Now, security and safety implications. They literally do not mention a single thing here about the person being able to take over the controls. Watch.
Security implications because the door should be locked.
Because the door should be locked, that's valid.
Safety? The council says, what if a full beer had been spilled all over the controls?
The beer is the safety concern because it could have shorted some of the controls. That's their logic here. The commuter council was not worried about the guy taking control of the train. Nope, about the beer and the fact that the door should have been locked. Not a single thing about controls like they've been making you think for the first, 90% of the video. Like they said, you need a key to operate not only the controls in the cab, but also the door communication. Wasn't an issue at all. He needed a key. Nobody was ever in danger. Exactly. Typical media panic over very little, and the commuter council. Promoting fear is how the news networks make money. Each new network competes with each other to sell you the best story that will get you to watch them, and that often includes stuff to shock you and scare you. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. He probably thinks that it was the bathroom. Yes, the bathroom with the giant seat and controls. Definitely best bathroom I've ever seen. Everybody freak out. Okay, I guess that's satire. I hope that's satire. Now, okay, this comment has to be my favorite, I swear. Not supposed to be there, crew members only. I like how everything is capitalized except for the I. Stay out of there, they will kick you off the train. Be careful. Also, we lock those M7 doors a lot, so please be careful. I'm a supervision boss, supervision and management boss. That's an awesome job title to have for the Long Island Railroad. But you have to have a dream key to open doors of M7, M3, DE30AC, and DM30AC. Like, what? So I think out of all news videos bashing any railroads, I think this infuriates me the most, just because of the pure misinformation and just rhetoric of the video that makes you believe that people on this train were in danger, when in reality this was not a problem whatsoever. Now this one, Metro-North cars cleaned. So inherently there's nothing too wrong with this video here, but it's just the inconsistency, honestly, and the fact that they have to shame Metro-North so much.
Last night here at 6, we showed you a complaint from riders on Metro-North's New Haven line. They're fed up with the dirty, disgusting seats.
Yes, and that's valid. I mean, the seats on Metro-North can definitely be dirty, especially like with the older M2s, which were in service at the time, and Shoreliners. But I mean, to be fair, M2s were barely in service here in 2017. And at the same time, this seat's not even dirty. These seats are literally completely fine, so why would you show these seats in your beginning shot?
Well, today, the before and after pictures are astonishing. Seats with caked on dirt, finally cleaned after CBS 2 demanded answers and got action.
Demanded answers, They have to act like they have such authority. Like, we're demanding answers from Metro-North. Why are the seats dirty?
Here's CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer with
Political reporter? Why would you get a political reporter to talk about dirty seats?
more from the commuters.
Filth, and for the most part it's on the headrests, and it's just built up of grime. And
okay, like, I completely understand the perspective of the commuters. I mean, when I did my internship in the summer, I myself was a Metro-North commuter for like a month and a half, and I know how it's like to be a commuter. I completely understand if you're fed up with 30 seats, and you have every right to be. Just saying, that's not why I think this video is ridiculous.
and dirt, and it's terrible. I don't
Like this, you can see, this is terrible here. I mean, the amount of grime on this seat. This is not that many seats. Like, literally, most M2 seats and Shoreliner seats, I feel like, are a lot cleaner.
know what bacteria is growing there.
Commuter Stephanie Gomez explaining why she took to Facebook to protest a dirty
This is an M2, as you can clearly tell by the windows, alright? It's gonna be important later, alright?
seat she found on some of the older Metro-North New Haven line trains from West.
Which, again, in 2017, there were probably like 3 or 4 M2 sets in service. service, and you're acting like the whole Metro-North fleet is this bad.
Chester to New York City. Conditions CBS2
And this is a Shoreliner. This is a Shoreliner. You see how you can tell by this, you can tell by like the backrest, like this is a Shoreliner. This is a completely different train.
also found when we boarded the same trains.
It's not the same train. This is a Shoreliner that you're showing, and at the beginning you showed Shoreliners too. Like right here, these are Shoreliners, and they're clean.
We then demanded answers from Governor Cuomo, who has taken an active role in making sure his appointees
This is blatantly a Shoreliner.
on the MTA toe the mark. Governor, when you see these pictures of dirt-encrusted seats, what do you think?
You really had to print out that picture. That big as well, on this full piece of paper. You had to print out this picture.
What goes in through your mind?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and I have to listen to this guy.
You know me, and you know the level that I hold government performance to, and this is it's
The level you hold government performance to. Okay, I don't want to get political here, but no, I'm not gonna. No.
just disgusting.
Was it the
You have a right to think that those seats are disgusting, but those seats do not make up a majority of the seats. Like, sure, those should be cleaned, but don't make it look like the whole fleet has these bad seats. And meanwhile, don't be so inconsistent as to jumping from Shoreliners to M2s.
dirt-encrusted seats on CBS2? And when we went back to check today,
You went back on Shoreliners to check. The original post was on an M2, and through the rest of the video, you've been showing Shoreliners.
it was apparent crews applied a whole lot of elbow grease.
I don't think that these clean seats are a direct result of the complaints.
The difference miraculous. Compare.
Miraculous. This is just like one of those cleaner seats that you showed right here. They literally, they didn't clean it because of you.
MTA says it will buy 60 new cars and hopes to phase out the older ones within.
And now you're referencing buying M8s to phase out M2s. And at this point, like, there were maybe 2 or 3 M2s still in service. So this whole video, you were talking about Shoreliners. The original complaint was about M2s. And now you're referencing replacing M2s. M8s, those 60 cars she was talking about, will not replace Shoreliners whatsoever. The cars that you have been in for most of this video are not being replaced anytime soon. So this is just pure inconsistent information that they're giving. Okay, and this video is not bad. Like, the beginning of this video is extremely valid, but what I don't like about this video is, like, towards the end, how they purposely shame Metro-North. Again, same thing. They're just purposely trying to shame Metro-North.
About Metro-North safety after 2 trains derail in the same 24-hour period. The one last night.
Right, so what happened here is, like, there was one derailment, like, in North White Plains in the yard or something, because there was some, like, snow. There were no passengers. It was a non-in-service train, and it just somehow derailed because of the snow and ice, like, in the North White Plains yard. And then there was another train in Grand Central. It was a Shoreliner consist that derailed with passengers in it in Grand Central, but it wasn't even a huge derailment. It honestly, it wasn't significant. I mean, everyone was able to leave. Like, there was no safety concern. There were no injuries or anything, because it was still, like, at the platform. Like, the fact that that was a derailment, it was probably under some really weird circumstances. The 2 derailments were not related at all, and neither of them posed any safety compromises whatsoever.
Within hours. The other, much further south at Grand Central in Manhattan, was an occupied train. Passenger.
Right, you can see how that. Oh yeah, nice M2 here. But you can see here, like, it derailed. Only the first car really got affected, but everyone could have just walked back, and there were no injuries here.
Passengers were able to walk off onto a platform. The back-to-back incidents on the troubled railroad had some riders worried.
I know that accidents happen, everybody understands that, but the rate at which these accidents are happening for the MTA is just unacceptable.
So you're making that conclusion based off of 2 minor derailments that have nothing to do with each other. First of all, there were literally only 2 derailments, none of them being catastrophic whatsoever. And these are the only 2 derailments you know of. It's not like there's a derailment happening every day.
For most Metro-North riders, it's the inconvenience that gets their attention. The derailed Grand Central train meant New Haven line riders had to wait inside the terminal for delayed departures. Many of them are Connecticut commuters. Their senior U.S. Senator has been extremely critical of the Metro-North Railroad.
So have you and your entire news station.
It is more than a minor inconvenience. It recalls past very serious incidents. And
very serious incident? What do you mean it is literally an inconvenience? It's not a serious incident. There were no injuries. It's clearly an inconvenience.
It has caused disruption and delay for countless travelers throughout the metropolitan area, and I want an explanation right away as to what the cause was.
Metro-North has had big...
That's valid. You want an explanation as to why that train even derailed in the first place.
...incidents in recent years, including the...
Okay, this is what I have a problem with. Fear-mongering. This is pure fear-mongering. There was absolutely no reason for them to bring up the Spite and Dival crash, and they show these graphic images of these shoreliners on the floor. Like, of course, this is causing fear-mongering. What do those delays that caused by those two very minor derailments, what does that have to do with the Spite and Dival crash? The Spite and Dival crash was absolutely fatal and absolutely terrible. I 100% agree with that. But why reference it here? What's the point of referencing it here? It's the rhetoric of these videos.
A fatal derailment at Spite and Dival on the Hudson Line 2 years ago. City-bound passengers at North White Plains, though, didn't see Wednesday's derailment as part of a larger pattern.
Right, because it was in the yard.
Really rely on the trains to get into the city on time. I already had 2 delays this morning, so I'm taking a later train in now.
Metro-North has been...
The only reason they kept that in the clip is because they want to make Metro-North look bad and say, oh, on top of these derailments, there also have been 2 delays this morning.
Great since I've been up here, so BCLIRR any day.
Okay, this guy, I like the fact that they included this guy here.
Metro-North says the 2 derailments were minor and unrelated.
And they wait until the very end of the video to mention that.
MTA Chairman Tom Pendergast zipped past our cameras this morning in Manhattan on his way to a budget meeting in Albany. His office says he was running late for his train.
So doesn't that imply that the train was just on time? So I guess at the end they are kind of shedding light on Metro-North somewhat in a very weird way, but okay. Okay, and there's this video. Now, this video is not from a news corporation, but this is a video basically praising the M8s and making the M2s look like complete garbage. Now, from the standpoint of a commuter, like it's 2008, you've been riding Metro-North for years, you've been riding M2s every morning for years. Of course you're gonna get tired of them because, I mean, they are relatively outdated as they were built in the 70s and stuff, and they do have their problems. But for some reason, everyone, like, despises the guts of M2s and praises M8s like Jesus. I don't understand the logic of that. But this video, basically, I mean, most of the video is just praising the M8s and basically just presenting information of, like, the style of the M8s and things like that. But the beginning ridicules the M2s, and I don't understand the logic of ridiculing the M2s here. And also, speaking from personal experience, I've never been on an M2, but an analogy between M2s and M8s could also be M3As versus M7As, which I have a lot of experience with. As a commuter myself for a couple of months in the summer, without a doubt, M7s are more comfortable than M3As. Now, M3As are my favorite train ever, literally ever. So from a rail fan perspective, M3As are my favorite by a long shot. From a commuter perspective, I like M7s for their comfort, and a majority of these people are commuters, so I understand that they have that perspective.
New Haven Line commuters have had to suffer the worst car conditions of...
Just the rhetoric of that. Had to suffer the worst car conditions. It's not even 3 seconds into the video and you're ridiculing M2s like that.
The entire Metro-North system. Smelly restrooms, rundown interiors.
Rundown interiors, and you choose the best looking M2 I've ever seen. This M2 looks perfectly fine. At least choose like a more rundown picture of an M2 if you want to make them look bad. This is literally the most perfect condition I've seen an M2 in.
And overcrowding due to so many of the old cars being constantly out for repairs.
Now, that's a major disadvantage of electric multiple units. I'll 100% give you that. Electric multiple units, as they get older, degrade, and then they have to be out of service for repairs way more frequently, and then it just becomes uneconomical to keep them in service, and then they eventually do need to be phased out.
Meanwhile, commuters on the...
Oh yes, praise the M7.
Harlem and Hudson lines have enjoyed updated cars with modern vacuum toilets.
The thing with the bathrooms, like, yes, I agree. I mean, one time during my internship when I was riding an M3A, I sat next to the bathroom and someone took a big one in there. And I was sitting next to it, and when that person left, even with a mask on, it smelled putrid. And I know vacuum toilets are definitely an advantage to have. And, like, I mean, that is a genuine reason. But, I mean, other than that one situation, like, I really have never found the bathrooms on M3As, and I mean, I guess M2s as well, to be that bad. I mean, it's not like every single time when you're riding, you're gonna get a guy taking that big of a dump. And also, if the bathrooms bother you, you can just go to the A car as well. I mean, because literally half of the cars have bathrooms and half of the cars don't. So if that's a problem, you can just move. And a disadvantage of M8 bathrooms and M7A bathrooms is actually that they're really large. I mean, that's an advantage and a disadvantage depending on how you you look at it. But I mean, it's a disadvantage in that when you're actually riding, I mean, there's less sitting room, like when you're in the car. But I mean, an advantage is they're larger, they're easier to use, and they have vacuum toilets. But again, overall, the bathrooms on M7As and M8s are a good thing. I just wanted to bring that up.
Head and armrests.
Armrests? Don't M2s have armrests? What? Headrests? Okay, headrests, I completely understand the struggle with headrests. I'll get into that later.
Early this morning at the New Haven Metro-North station, commuters finally got to get a glimpse into the
This video was created in 2008. Like, this is 3 or 4 years before M8s even went into service, so this was just like a prototype they brought out to New Haven, as the guy just explained.
Long overdue improvements to their daily train ride. The new M8 Railcar.
I find nothing wrong with people praising M8s. M8s are really solid train cars, but the fact that you have to treat M2s like complete garbage, though, is what bothers me.
Cars are not scheduled to begin service until late 2009.
Late 2009? Yeah, more like March 2011.
But a prototype of the car's interior was on hand, so riders could check it out and provide feedback while there's still time to make changes. Among the most important improvements to the new cars are the restrooms, which feature vacuum toilets to help control odor.
Already went over that.
The larger size also makes these restrooms available to riders in wheelchairs. This morning's visitors were probably most divided over the red color scheme. Some liked it a lot, some didn't like it at all. One visitor called it garish.
What do you mean? Don't M2s literally already have a red color scheme for the most part? I mean, isn't this a red color scheme here? I mean, I guess you have the blue seats as well, but I mean, I don't think that should be much of a surprise that they would choose a red color scheme for the M8s, considering like Connecticut and the New Haven line's signature color scheme is red.
But all agreed that it was an improvement over the current cars.
How did one person call it garish and say that they didn't like it at all, yet everyone agreed it was an improvement? What?
The new seats will be a welcome improvement for all riders, but especially for early morning commuters' favorite pastime, sleeping.
Okay, yes, they're talking about the headrests here.
Currently, there is no head support at all on the New Haven line trains.
No head support at all. Then what's this? Now, I know these are not headrests exactly, and I know these seats are basically the same as M3A seats, so I can speak from personal experience here. Yes, they're not like dedicated headrests, like with the flared sides and stuff. Like, yeah, I know M8s have that. And again, from a commuter standpoint, whenever I was going to my internship and I had an M7A, I always really appreciated the comfortable headrests. M7As and M8s have comfortable headrests. I'll give them that for sure. I mean, the seats overall and the headrests on M3As and M2s are not the best. Definitely not. From a commuter standpoint, once again. But you're acting like you're sitting on something that has literally no... That's what they're saying, it has no head support. All you have to do, or at least what I did when I was riding M3As and I wanted to rest my head, slouch back a little bit and then like lean your head back like that. Like that's always what I did when I was riding M3As. Always worked like a charm. Not as comfortable as M7As, but you know, it worked anyway, so do that. But again, I completely understand the appeal of having headrests. As a commuter, I would have really appreciated headrests as well. And I'm not at all bashing M8s at all. M8s are really nice cars as well. So are M2s, in my opinion.
The new seats have comfortable headrests with flared sides to keep your drowsy seatmate from drooling on your shoulder.
Yeah, as if that small little flare could prevent someone from drooling on your shoulder, definitely.
Standard power outlets are available near the seats to charge laptops.
I get that's a major advantage of M8s. Like, I'm not disagreeing with any of the advantages they're talking about the M8s.
Cell phones and iPods.
Well, that dates this video.
Thanks to some additional space forward of the seat, using a small laptop is easier than in the current cars.
I can't speak from personal experience on that because I never used a laptop on trains, but valid point.
But larger riders and laptops might still need to use
larger riders. I guess that's a nice way of saying, you know,
the open face-to-face seats when computing on the go. One visitor expressed disappointment that there were no plans to add internet access to the new cars.
The problem with internet access on M8s and on Metro-North trains in general is the fact that a Metro-North train, especially on rush hour, can have like 3,000 passengers or something like that. It's like a ridiculously high number like that. Amtrak and smaller commuter railroads can have Wi-Fi because they only have about 300 people per train. Even on an Amtrak train, you would know that the Wi-Fi sucks if you've used it. I mean, I've never used it, but I've seen like reviews and stuff. I was seeing like 4 megabits per second, 3 megabits per second. Like, that completely sucks. If you have that slow of Wi-Fi for 300 people, can you imagine how unspeakably slow the Wi-Fi would be for 3,000? It would be unusable. It would just be uneconomical because the Wi-Fi would just suck so much and people would complain about it. Like, there's no point to have Wi-Fi on Metro-North trains because of the sheer capacity of the trains.
Overhead electronic destination signs will keep riders advised of upcoming stops. The New Haven ride might not be as picturesque as the Hudson's, but larger windows will at least give riders a better view.
Right, the thing with windows, like, I honestly don't really mind the smaller windows of the M2s. I mean, large windows for sure can definitely be an improvement. I mean, speaking from personal experience again, when I was like a little kid and I rode M3As, I would usually get pissed because the windows, like, they're pretty high up. I mean, for a kid, like, I could barely see anything out the window. But I mean, now I don't really mind, but again, not trying to bash anything right now.
The windows also assist the white walls and enhanced lighting to give the M8 a very light and airy atmosphere.
Yeah, you see, like, I'm kind of weird because I like the light and airy atmosphere of the M8s for sure, but I also, I might be crazy. I actually like this kind of darker atmosphere of the M2s, as well as like the lighter atmosphere of M3As and M7s and M8s. Like, I honestly like the atmospheres on any trains. I might be weird for that because everyone hates the atmosphere of M2s. I actually like the atmosphere of M2s and M8s as well. They're both fine for me.
Raj Karup is a New Haven to Stamford commuter. He liked the new interior but suggested a feature he enjoys when he rides on Shoreline East.
One thing that I did not notice there was the cup holder. I didn't see any cup holder.
Actually, the new...
Yeah, cup holders, again, from a commuter standpoint, cup holders would actually be awesome on M8s. Like, there have been plenty of times where I went to, like, Starbucks or Dunkin' or something before heading on my train back home. I would have to keep the cup on, like, the seat. Like, if the train's crowded and you have someone sitting next to you, obviously that's a problem. But if the train's empty, I mean, that's kind of fine. But at the same time, you do have a little bit of a risk of it, like, falling, and you kind of have to keep an eye on it. So a cup holder, like a dedicated cup holder, would definitely be nice. I mean, Shoreline East, as they said before, Shoreline East has cup holders, which, I mean, I've never been on Shoreline East. I would imagine that cup holders would be a great feature.
New Haven line already has lots of cup holders on one of its cars.
Bar car.
No word yet on whether...
That's the one thing. Everyone adored bar cars on M2s. I mean, having a bar car would be awesome on M8s. Now, obviously, there is no M8 bar car. That doesn't exist. I think they don't have the bar cars just because, like, they don't want to sell alcohol, but they don't need to sell alcohol. I mean, they can just bring back the bar cars and have it like a cafe car. Especially if you just get to Grand Central, you don't have any time to chill. Like, you just got to get straight on your train and you want to eat something and you had a long day at work. I mean, grabbing a snack from the bar car would be awesome. And people really praise M2s for bar cars. That's the only thing people actually liked about M2s, I feel.
So the Tiki bar car will be making a triumphant return on the new M8.
I actually don't know of a Tiki bar car. I mean, I know the regular bar car. I had no idea that there was a Tiki bar on M2s. I mean, I don't even know what Westin Hotels and Resorts is. But unfortunately, the bar cars will not be making any triumphant return to the M8s, at least in the coming future. And for the final video, I'm not even gonna watch this video, but I mean, I did watch it before making this video, but basically what happened here is that some idiot threw an entire bike off a bridge and an M7 hit it, and this was by Fordham, and then people had to evacuate, and then passengers had safety concerns, and I have nothing to bash about this video whatsoever, but the comments seemed kind of interesting. I thought the bike was a snake. I mean, to be fair, when I saw the thumbnail, I did as well. Putting stuff on tracks is a no-no. Yes, but that's kind of an obvious statement. IMO, no biggie. Oh, in my opinion. Didn't even realize that. I think this was more significant than the freaking passenger scene in Long Island Railroad Cab. I think this was actually more of a biggie, especially because this actually did cause confusion among passengers and it actually did cause real delays. Lol. Why would you say lol to this? Unless this is the guy that threw the bike. I have. Added a lot to the discussion going on in this comment section. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. If you have any suggestions for like types of videos that I should make in the future, like more rail fanning videos, more train simulator videos, like if you want to see something on this channel in particular, feel free to leave the idea in the comments. I will gladly take it into consideration. So hopefully I will start uploading more to this channel. So thank you for watching and goodbye.